All right, PlayStation State of Play today. Pretty interesting what we witnessed, and certainly I enjoyed it overall. I don't think it was like the worst thing ever. I'm not really walking away with much for myself, to be honest with you. With probably the biggest announcement for me was the Marvel Tokon announcement. I think that was very cool. I enjoyed that. We finally got some actual villains announced in the roster. We got Magneto, we got Carnage, we got Green Goblin, who look like maybe like the most interesting. But yeah, that's kind of like the big standout for me that I'm mostly interested in. However, I think the big talking point of the entire show is going to be what we saw with the new God of War game. God of War, Laufey. I would have pronounced it Laufey, maybe. And we'll talk about that a little bit. I think the naming convention of the game is interesting. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm the biggest God of War fan. I did play 2018, enjoyed it, didn't fall head over heels in love with it or anything. And since that moment, I've kind of kept a distance from the franchise just because the modernized version of it just never really gelled with me. I played 2018 kind of at the height of my love and infatuation with games like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro. Like, I was really into that stuff when I played God of War 2018, and just mentally I wasn't in the right frame of mind to kind of experience what God of War offers in its type of gameplay and everything. But I do appreciate it for its qualities. Beautiful cinematic game. I do think that the graphics are obviously really good. The gameplay is good enough, I think. It's not my preferred style of like action RPG style, but hybrid, I guess, action RPG, if you want to call it that. But I enjoyed it enough. It was fun. So, don't have any majorly huge criticisms. I appreciate it as just like a good game overall. And I've not played Ragnarok, at all. So, anyways, I know people love it, and I respect that, and I appreciate it. So, but I've generally kept my distance from it since playing 2018, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. So it is whatever. But all that being said, I have a few criticisms of what we saw today, and you're going to see a lot of the usual garbage on Twitter and whatever. You already see people calling the main character ugly, and I can't believe they replaced Kratos with a man, and totally ridiculous things like that. I mean, they've already said this is a spin-off game. Like, we're obviously going to continue to get mainline God of War Kratos themed games. I mean, they literally said, I think it was it Game the end of the year Game Awards, when they announced that they were remaking all of the original God of War games. I'm pretty sure that's when it was. So, like, we're getting plenty more Kratos. This new game is a spinoff, right? It's not replacing God of War. Like, the conversation is obviously completely ridiculous, already out of line with reality, and I would say just, as usual, do as you do and ignore it. But what I actually do, so I have two criticisms that I want to walk away with. One is smaller, and one is a bigger criticism, at least for me, or it's more just like, what? Why did they do this? This is so weird and so interesting to me that they decided to take this route with it. But whatever, they've done what they've done. So the first thing I'm going to say, there was a game that came out a few years ago, a little game called Forspoken, and the game was absolutely memed, dunked on, made fun of because of essentially it's and I can't think of a better term than this, but I think generally people refer to this now as like millennial writing. And basically all that is just kind of bad, cringy writing. That's what basically it's like a catch-all term for bad, cringy, immature writing. And if you don't know the game Forspoken, go look it up, watch the trailers. I think you'll figure out pretty quick why people were kind of off-put by the game. But there's a kind of a very popular scene where she has a magic cuff that wraps itself around her arm, and it starts talking to her. And she goes, oh, this freaking cuff is talking to me or something like that. I don't remember what it was exactly, but something along those lines. And people dunked on that, memed on that, and understandably so. Like, it wasn't good writing, and the way just that it was portrayed in the trailers and everything. I think the game itself, like, was kind of just like a B-tier game. I don't even think it was terrible. Like, I think generally people were like, yeah, it's fine. You know, it's not amazing. It's not terrible. It's just in between. It's kind of like, you know, it has some potential there. But it never really was able to capitalize on an audience in a meaningful way, and in big part because of just the initial reaction to the game. So, I hate to say it, but throughout a lot of this presentation, hearing the writing and seeing the character, I guess it's Laufey or whatever you want to, Faye, I guess is her name, or they just kind of refer to her as Faye in the first 2018 God of War game. And she's the big thing was she's talking to this cube. I think the cube's name was Frank, I believe. I don't know what that's about. It's funny. I think it is quirky. Like, it's definitely got a lot different vibe than what we got used to with the previous God of War games. Like, the previous God of War games were much more somber, sad, you know, sad bald dad game, essentially. And this has a much different tone than that. This seems to be a lot more quirky, uplifting. Still seems pretty violent. Like, the action looks good. I think the character at the enemies, the models for the enemies and stuff like that, I didn't love them here. They kind of just looked pretty generic to me, especially like the skeletons or whatever she was fighting in the video. Like, I thought it wasn't bad, but it just looked kind of generic, and I didn't resonate with it. I thought the look of some of the enemies in the previous God of War games, like the troll and stuff like that, you know, they're really well designed enemies. So I think they stood out a lot more than the enemies here so far of what we've seen. But this is only a snippet, right? So we'll see. We'll keep our eye on it. So far, though, there is some generic qualities about it that I would say. But the big thing is she's talking to the cube, and the cube is like making jokes. And then there's a sword in the cube, kind of like Arthurian style sword in the stone, but it's the sword in the cube, I guess, or something like that. It's an homage to that, maybe. I'm not really sure. There could be something else completely else going on with that. I have no idea. The writing for this part, which is a significant portion of the trailer, it really, you know, stands out. That's for sure. God, I hate to say it. It's got a little Forspoken energy. It's kind of just amateurish, you know, immature, goofy.
Okay, so let me get this straight. I'm somewhere that's not what I would call Earth. I'm seeing freaking dragons, and oh yeah, I'm talking to a cop.
Totally different tone again, and it could end up being really endearing. Maybe Frank the Cube ends up being an awesome character. That's totally fine, but I just wanted to point that out. Like, when I was watching this, I was like, oh no, like, and I'll be curious to see if I see more people say this or not, but I was like, man, this has got some Forspoken energy. So just going to say that, take it for what it is. I'm not saying this is going to be a bad game or anything. I know for sure the gameplay in this game is probably going to be really fun. It's solid just because the gameplay is good in the previous God of War games. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see, right? I expect the gameplay will be good, but the story, the writing, there's some red flags here that we're already waving. So a little bit concerning. However, this brings me to my bigger point here, and that is the name of the game. And a lot of people might not know this because you're not I'm a music guy, listen to a lot of music. You hear some music playing in the background right now. Well, this is from an Icelandic artist named, well, she pronounces or asks us to pronounce it. I can't actually do the real Icelandic pronunciation of this, but Laufey is essentially how it's pronounced. She's a very popular jazz pop singer, and she has a very unique name. I've never heard that name until I started listening to her music, which wasn't even that long ago. And she's become a lot more popular, not like mainstream, not as big as Metallica or anything like that, but she's certainly built up a big fan base. People know of her, but her name is spelt exactly the same as the name of this game. It's Laufey. And sure, you could say, yeah, it's a traditional Icelandic name or whatever, but like, I don't know, man. Like, it just seems like way too much of a coincidence to me, where it's like, if you have a multi-million-dollar company, you're releasing a giant product, and you're going, what should we name said product? Oh, let's name it Laufey, the real full name of Fey or whatever. Like, wouldn't you go onto Google and be like, okay, Laufey, is that associated with anything? Maybe we should take a few minutes. The marketing team would take a few minutes, or whoever, anybody in the entire Santa Monica Studios team would go, or Sony as the publishers. Hey, maybe we should try to name this something that stands out when you Google it and isn't going to get confused with something else that's really well known with this very specific, unique naming convention. Laufey, Laufey. Did nobody take 5 minutes to type this into Google and say, oh, there's actually an artist who has millions of listens on Spotify per month who people already know? Yeah, so this is Laufey. This is Laufey here. This is my Laufey playlist, but let me just pull it up here. You know what? Let's just take a look because I'm curious. I want to see. Laufey on Spotify. Okay, you can see here. The naming convention, exactly the same. Laufey. She has 23 million monthly listeners on Spotify. This is, okay, like a well-known artist. I just, I don't know. It could be coincidence, and it's probably, and don't get me wrong, I don't think it's the end of the world. I actually think it's more funny than anything, but it's just kind of weird. Very strange. Why would you not be okay? The main character's name could be Laufey, right? That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But wouldn't you name the game like anything else? Like, seriously. I just don't get it. Like, please, Sony, explain why you went with this naming convention. It's so specific that it's one of two things. It's either they willfully named it knowing about this artist and knowing that if you type in Laufey into Google that this is what's going to come up, right? Go do it yourself. Go type this name into Google. Tell me what comes up. Because this is who comes up. It is this artist here. That's who comes up, okay? And I highly suggest listening to her music. Really good. It was either intentional, and they're like, maybe somebody on the team was like, I'm such a huge fan, I'm going to name the game after her, which now I'm like, oh God, please be a good game. Like, oh, don't slander the name of Laufey with this crappy, poorly written game. Again, probably going to be a decent game in some areas, but I'm worried. The writing, seriously concerning. But let's not soil the Laufey name here. That's no good. Or it was just completely lazy and ignorant and literally did not take the few minutes to go, hey, like, is there anybody else? Like, is this related to anybody or any other brand or product or, celebrity or anything like that? So apparently not. Apparently the marketing executives, or I don't know how this stuff works. I'm assuming it would be, marketing or the publisher or whatever who kind of green lights the name of these games. But apparently nobody thought for 2 moments to go, hey, let's Google this and just see what's related to it. Or if they did, it was very intentional. And now you're going to get this confused. Because if I was a God of War guy and never heard of the artist Laufey, I probably wouldn't be looking up God of War Laufey. I'd probably just go Laufey walkthrough, Laufey guide, or whatever. It's going to get screwed up in the algorithm. Anyways, it's not that big of a deal. It's just so weird. It's just very strange that it's so specific to that name. Well, how is that? How did that happen? You don't see a bunch of people running around with the name Laufey. So anyway, very interesting. Let's keep our eyes on this one. I just thought it was really funny. And you're going to see a lot, like you said, a lot of crappy criticism of the game. The fact that the character's a woman or whatever, or she's not hot enough, or their boobs are not big enough. You're going to see all the typical BS about this. But here, really what you should be watching out for is this kind of stuff, because this is truly willfully ignorant or just careless. That's I hate to tell you, kind of a red flag for the entire project. So keep your eyes out for that.